Our next guest is the head of an amazing organization, Interval House, and she's here to talk about Domestic Violence Awareness Month, which is October. Mary Jane Foster. Good to see you, Mary Jane.
Nice to see you. Thank you for having me.
And Interval House, how many years now has Interval House been around?
We're in 48.
It's amazing. So
about
heading toward 50.
18 months to 50 years.
And you've saved a lot of lives and helped countless people.
Hundreds of thousands by now. Yes.
You know, you and I talk about this every time we chat, and that the problem never seems to go away. In fact, it's always out there, and in some ways it's always getting worse. There's more domestic violence cases than before. Why is that?
No one really knows. I can give you a host of answers, but we don't really know. It's triggered, first of all, the thing to know about domestic violence is that it is all about control. Everything else is a trigger. So for instance, in COVID, the isolation, the financial stresses, the lack of freedom, all of those things were triggers to someone who already had control of a situation. What we all expected was that when COVID ended and we all opened up again, that the numbers would go down. In fact, our numbers have gone up about 15% and stayed there consistently. So, for instance, in Hartford the other day, we had 40 arraignments in the criminal court. 40 arraignments.
All domestic violence.
One morning. All domestic violence. So the numbers are not going down. And anecdotally, the advocates feel like the intensity of the violence has actually increased.
What can we do to sort of get the word out there that this is just unacceptable, and there needs to be, because you know, a lot of these incidents happen behind closed doors, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
There aren't witnesses. There aren't someone to, you know, people can't call for help necessarily. You know, what's the answer?
Well, we had an epiphany in 2023 when 4 women in the Hartford region were murdered in 3.5 weeks.
I remember that.
And the mayor called and said, "What can we do?" And I said, "We have got to get to the kids. Absolutely have got to get to the kids." And usually prevention is the last thing we do. We're very busy with crisis intervention, but we upended Interval House. We now have a director of community programming, 2 educators, we're looking for a 3rd, and we are going full out on prevention and education. Here's the thing. Domestic violence is a very specific pattern of behavior. The stories are not unique, really. It's the same behavior over and over again. And if we know about that, it's predictable, and if it's predictable, it's preventable. We know that 75% of kids who grow up in homes with domestic violence repeat it. They're either abusers or abused. So we are getting into the schools, youth groups, churches, any place we can go to talk about healthy relationships. Excuse me. Domestic violence, warning signs, all of those things.
And you are working on ending the stigma. Tell me about that, this new initiative.
So breaking the cycle is what we call this initiative. And to give you an idea of how committed we are, in 18 months, we have increased our community outreach by 230%. Wow. And we're just getting started. There's the biblical parable about the man who's walking by the river, he hears a cry for help, pulls somebody out, then there's another cry, more people help, and one man walks away and they say, "Where are you going?" And he says, "To the top of the river." Well, like that person, we are going to the top of the river to prevent this before it starts.
You've said this before, statistically, it's highly likely there are some women or even men watching this program right now who are in dangerous situations. What should they do? What's the number to call?
Well, there is a statewide hotline called Safe Connect, and there is Interval House as well, or across the state of Connecticut, there are 18 different agencies, and they all have their own hotline, so you can call. What you need to know about that is that it is free, it is confidential, and the majority of our calls are not crisis, but they're for information, they're for help. What's happening? Why has this turned so bad? What can I do about it? And we have advocates who work 24/7 who can explore how to stay safe, that's the big thing, and then what your options might be. And many women or men don't leave right in that moment. It takes time for them to think this through. So we just stay there. We worked with a woman for 26 years. She called the hotline on a regular basis. And in year 27, COVID hit. She said, I can't do this. And she called and said, I'm ready. 27 years.
Interval House, Mary Jane Foster, great organization. Joe Freer and I are proud to be the members of Men Who Make a Difference,
Yes.
just to go out there and tell people that this isn't
Yeah.
okay and that there's help available. And we have all the information as well on our website. So if you are in a perilous situation right now, there is help.
Thank you.
Mary Jane, keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Just ahead, a book about people watching.